How can we design for learning? Knowing about the science of learning, knowing the learning sciences is all good and great. But how can we design for learning? I want you to take a minute and write down for your context, what is learning? How are you going to define learning? Is it going to be improved literacy scores on a standardized test? Is it going to be improved literacy scores in a class test? Is it going to be a student reading 12 books this month? Is this going to be math proficiency at fluency levels? Is it going to be math proficiency at accuracy? Is it going to be a combination of that? When we say that a student has learned something, what exactly are we trying to say? Let's have that definition in place. If you have that definition in place, I've created for you something I like to call the learning bingo. The learning bingo are the mix and match of strategies. Like I mentioned, there's no 100% guarantee that us employing all of these strategies will concretely increase learning outcomes because there are several variables beyond our control. But including as many of these strategies as we can, depending on the context, is likely to increase students' learning outcomes. When I speak of learning outcomes here, I'm primarily referring to content knowledge. So think about personalization, right? So often it's become almost a buzzword of, hey, this is personalized, hey, this is differentiated. Ask the question, how? How is it differentiated? How is it personalized? If it is to a student's prior knowledge, based on a reasonable assessment, that's perhaps way better than just saying, hey, it's personalized to a person's learning styles, which, by the way, is a myth. Let's also think about, does your product include formative assessments, where students are running assessments or are taking assessments for the purposes of learning rather than just assessments of learning? Ask yourself or identify, hey, are there ways for me to connect concepts across different components of the content or the curriculum, across subjects? There's also the other opportunity for us using EdTech to chunk our learning in very specific pieces of key ideas, of central ideas. That piece might be slightly harder for us to do unless we have a crystal clear understanding of what the central ideas of that content is. And I understand what I'm saying might sound like, gosh, this is a lot of work. And it is. It is hard work, but that's the beauty of EdTech. We can do the hard work once, so teachers can get to leverage that for thousands and millions of students forever. Working through all of those pieces, just working through content or the presentation of content is one way to leverage the sense of learning, but also thinking about how it influences our user interface, keeping it light, keeping it simple, keeping it easy to use. If a learner has use more resources to figure out how to use your tool, not only is it leading to a poor customer user experience, it is also hampering their learning. Their cognitive resources are going to go towards understanding the UI and figuring out how to submit an assignment rather than focusing on doing a better job on the assignment. So work through your UI in terms of how much brain power is this going to take. And with that, our video comes to an end. I'd love to chat more with you, so if you have any thoughts, questions, ideas, feel welcome to reach out on LinkedIn or email or website. We'd love to hear from you. Signing off, this is Dr. Kripa Sundar from EdTech Recharge.